girls got working. Working.
Let me work it. Is it work it? Want to flip down, flip it over?
It's a crappy song then. It's a crappy song now.
Marky Marker, wait on you, buddy. Tinkle, your
Finkel. Laces out.
laces out.
Laces out.
Do this.
Clink, clink, clink.
Clink, clink, clang, clink, clink, clang, clink, clang.
Hello and welcome to Happy Hour. That is the weekly game and tech podcast that is part of the Strange Gaming Network. I am one of your hosts, Brent the Head Chef Metcalf, along
Head
to
wench.
my anti-left
John Pettit. Handsome
Dale.
John.
and the unright.
Dispatcher Mark Flower.
Also not wrong.
He's done a good job.
Not wrong, but maybe not correct. If this is your first time ever coming to see us, we talk about a news show. We talk about a news show. We talk about news of the week to make sure that you guys understand, because there
the show
is
called Happy Hour. That's a great show, isn't it?
it's a wonderful show.
There you go. Yeah.
There's three charismatic gentlemen that run it. It's beautiful. But there's a lot of noise out in the world. There's a lot of things coming your way, but we bring you the important. God, we're so good today. We're on par.
I thought you were going to try
much
to
better
screw
than
us
last
up,
week.
and I
I
was
was
like,
thinking about
I
it,
don't
but
want to be
I
part of
started
this.
Better than last week.
I'm going to go ahead and hop on the bandwagon here and go first. I want to talk about EA's cancelization of another Star Wars game. EA has canceled now 4 Star Wars games, if we're counting them correctly.
I didn't know there were that many.
Does anybody know what they paid for these rights?
They have paid a lot of money. What's worse is that Disney gave them a contract, or they worked with the contract out with Disney to have the rights for 10 years. And within those 10 years, they have produced 2 actual games, one online MMO, which is the Old Empire.
That's the old Knights. No.
Knights of the Old. No,
Knights-
not
well, Coder was
not,
old.
not Coder. That's old. It's the Old Republic. That's what
because
it
that
is.
was like the sequel
Yeah.
almost to Coder. Yeah.
And then they've released Battlefield 1 and 2. And then a couple
Battlefront.
mobile games. Battlefront, thank you. I keep doing that.
All of them pretty much not really well
Don't
received.
don't
Most
you
of them.
dare mistake that
Besmirch.
swill.
I mean, same creators, let's be honest. What's interesting here is that this is a game. It's called Project Orca, is what they were calling it in the back end. This was picked up remnants of the Visceral Studios game that was being worked on by Amy Hennig. Those assets kind of maneuvered over here. They're going to build this giant open world playground for people to go to multiple planets. You're a scoundrel, you're smuggling stuff. And they're like, hey, that's not going to you're not going to have enough time to do that. We need something out by 2020. Scrap this. And now they're working on something much smaller in scale.
So how many? They closed Visceral Games.
Mhm.
They also closed Vancouver.
So this is part of Vancouver. Vancouver's still open.
I thought they closed it.
They're
Okay.
going to a different project, which is now whatever this new project's going to be called.
So they stopped this project Vancouver was working on. to work on
Correct.
something else.
Correct.
Okay.
Parts of Vancouver will also move to something else because this is a smaller scale project. They're not going to need as many staff members. They said that there will be no layoffs, which is the positive note here. But if you count 1313, which I do think was under EA, and then there's one more, that this is not a good bang for Disney's buck at the moment.
Yeah.
I mean, especially we're talking about exclusive rights.
Yeah.
No one else can make a Star Wars game except for EA, and they are really screwing the pooch on this one.
Yeah.
I feel like their investors are probably not happy with them right now.
If I were Disney, I would be trying to figure out the cleanest way to end that contract.
Well, absolutely, because I mean they want to make money off of things.
Mhm.
They gave that to them expecting some kind of return, and they're not getting anything from it. And if it's solely based on commission from a game sales perspective, they're
not making a whole
probably
lot back.
Yeah.
really bad.
Well, I mean, it was so bad with Battlefront 2 that they had to they actually had to step in and tell EA, get rid of the loot boxes.
Yeah.
Like, the head of the Disney, Bob Iger at the time, actually called them, their reports of this, of calling EA and be like, end it today, whatever it takes. So
Wow.
they're obviously not on a good foot. I do think that EA really needs to figure out something quick.
See,
We'll
I feel
find out what else they have planned for diverting Vancouver, because it has to be worth it. If not, they might as well just forget it, because they had 15-year contract.
10 years.
10 years,
And they're
Yeah.
halfway through it already.
Yeah, I'm about to say they've got
Yes.
maybe 2 more solid games in them, unless they have multiple
Well, we know
devs
that.
working on it.
Oh my God, who made Titanfall? Respawn.
Thank you. I was like brain fart.
I wouldn't have known.
Respawn is currently making
Great game.
a Jedi, not the last Jedi, something Jedi game. We don't really know what that is. We just know it's coming out. We'll probably see it at E3 this year. But other than that, they kind of got nothing. And considering how controversial the movies have been, Star Wars is kind of in a rough spot entertainment wise right now.
I mean, even the games I played when I was younger, like I think I played First Strike or something like that on GameCube, and it was okay. It was fun, but I mean, it was it was what it was.
I played the original Battlefront 2, and to me that was like for the time anyway.
Yeah.
That was like the perfect. Like it's an open world. It's a little bit of a sandbox. You can set up servers and do whatever you want.
Yep.
It was a good time.
I think it's funny that before they released the new Battlefront 2, they released the old one on Steam. We're able to play around with it. But I digress. My second news topic has to be the Division story trailer drop this week. And this is a big one for us.
Yep.
Division Bros. If you haven't watched it, I'm sure a link will be in the description, which is like up there. It's like it's in half. Like half of it's down here and half it's up there, along with the comment sections where half over here and half down there.
If you're don't give it to him and he'll stop doing it.
I just had to stare at him for a little bit because he was getting a little weird with it.
Top and bottom.
He's trying to go like full Egyptian on him.
I was. The story looks interesting. There has been a lot of actual news about it, including some new announcements about how they're doing the Dark Zone, which is now split up into 3 different zones. They're customizing the Dark Zone so that it no longer relies on gear stat. Everybody gets normalized to a specific level.
Okay.
All of their gear. So now it's more about the Twitch gameplay than it is the stat build and how long you've been playing the game, which is cool. They're having a private beta. So if you purchase the game, pre-order it, you have access to that. And then there was a sign up during the last year's E3. Those individuals will also have access to this, and that's February 7th through the 10th. I will be jumping in that. I'm very excited. So Division aficionados, check it out. Moving on to the last topic has to be, we finally have the next all-around cross-play game. Rocket League. Does anybody?
I'm not surprised at all.
Yeah, no surprise there.
They were the first ones that wanted to get this. They were actually the first voice that came out and talked about wanting to get the crossplay going on. And they got shut down, and then all of a sudden Fortnite pushed their weight around, and the Rocket League's like, I'm gonna sit my foot forward.
Yeah, no, I mean, Rocket League got their foot in there at least, where PS4 and Xbox and PC players could could play against each other.
Yeah,
in the sense that like you could match up against each other if you were playing, but it was completely without any kind of cause or without any sort of like purpose to it. Like, the idea is like if I'm playing in a ranked game on duos, then I'm gonna get paired up with another teammate, but then the other 2 guys could either be on PC or PlayStation.
Yeah,
but both of them are on PC or both of them are on PlayStation.
Yeah,
the guy I'm playing with is guaranteed to be on PC because I'm on PC.
Mm-hmm.
Well, which is, I mean, I don't know how much. I've never played on PC, so I'm assuming that you probably have an advantage over other players.
Not really. So
yeah,
Rocket League is
Rocket League.
Rocket League's a very low fidelity game. So like to the point that the actions and things like that, the servers run at a solid 60 cycles per second. So like your frame rate at 60 frames per second, which is I think the max for the game, because they don't let you go much higher than that. If they do, maybe 120, but even then you're only rendering everything at 60 frames. So, like the server's only actually ticking at 60 iterations per second. So everyone gets exactly the same out of it because you can really play it on anything.
Yeah.
Small laptops, Xboxes, PlayStations, whatever. I mean, we can play it, or
Wii U.
Switch.
Switch.
Wii U and Switch can play it.
Yeah, was it on Wii U? Switch.
I don't know if it was on Wii U.
Yeah, regardless, you're correct. I think it's a good next step. I think it was an obvious next step. I think the next big question is like, are they going to continue to trickle out big titles like this, or is there going to be an occupancy window of, hey, these titles can get in, come to us, appeal, whatever?
Yep,
we'll see.
Yeah.
So moving on to John, because we're talking about playing well with others across the table, over to the green side. What's Microsoft got brewing?
Microsoft has got Horizon Zero Dawn.
What an exclusive!
Don't say it.
Heard first here for Horizon Zero Dawn going to Microsoft.
We got a racing game that I'm just not going to say anymore because my brain just keeps saying it. Anyway,
Forza Horizon.
Thank you. My God, I can't stop thinking about it. So they're taking out the Carlton dance. And it's for obvious reasons.
Yep.
But they don't want to say it. They've given no remark as to why they removed it on January 15th.
Of all games, I had no idea that Forza Horizon.
I didn't even know either. I was like, why even announce this? Why just shuffle it off?
I mean, like at one time I was an Xbox fanboy with the 360 and Horizon came out, but like I don't remember any dances that you drivers did or anything like that.
Apparently it's random.
Yeah.
Like it's not even consistent. So the fact that they
can't even have your own.
I don't know, but they didn't give. We're gonna start seeing this a lot more and more.
Yep.
I don't know if this gives fidelity to their claim or if they feel like it will give fidelity to Alfonso Ribeira.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think is how you say his name. To his claim and Mealy 2, I think. Or
2 million.
2 million. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not in that genre.
The floss.
Yeah.
Well, actually, the floss wasn't.
There was a kid.
Yeah, it's a specific kid, and actually, he's claiming
he was like orange suit kid or orange shirt kid.
Yeah.
Because the floss was also removed from Forza.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Pretty much anybody who comes up and says, I'm going to lay a claim on this is kind of going to get it anyway, especially if they're just sort of moving out of the way for this.
I don't think they're going to get money, but I think you're going to start seeing a lot more of these companies being games makers, developers, just staying away from this kind of stuff. Right. It's not fun for them anymore to deal with. I don't care. It's like that one kid. He did the I agree. I'm not going to get any compensation from this, and then decides to sue them. I'm like,
yeah. There was a game I was playing this weekend that I'm not going to name here because I don't want them to be attacked, but they had the floss in it. And it was a cute little android doing the floss.
Oh yeah,
yeah. And all I could think about was that'll be gone here in the next patch.
Yep. You're gonna have to tell me what that is because I don't know.
I will. I'll let you know later.
I think it's kind of sad, and I don't like where this is going. But at the same time, like, I totally understand wanting to be out of the conversation.
Yeah, no, it's a good jump forward, but I agree with you. Like, how does that not add validity to these arguments that these people are trying to make in court now?
Right. So, everybody's afraid that they're going to get sued on it because, they think that people actually have ownership rights. So now they can actually go to the courts and say, look, they removed these from the game. So they actually believe that we have ownership of this, so they can sort of stand behind it.
Well, I mean, and at that point, it's on them to say, no, they just don't want to deal with your crap. Well, and I hope that they say that.
But I mean, as soon as any kind of patent goes through for a dance, that sets a whole new precedent for everybody else anyway to start setting start creating patents for these dances, that kind of thing, which also sets the precedent in court that says if you're going to have this, you have to get ownership rights for it.
It's already bad enough where I listened to That's Good Games not too long ago, and they reported something on Twitter where they got blocked because they literally were saying the lyrics like with a slight tune, and they still got nicked. Yeah. I'm like, that's pretty bad.
It can be bad.
No
for
kidding.
Sure.
I mean, the loss is 30% different, but whatever. I guess that's up to a judge to figure out.
Yeah, seriously. I was going to look up if the moonwalk was patented.
It's funny.
No, because that was the big argument anyway. Was that like did Michael Jackson patent moonwalk? Well, technically, no, he didn't. There hasn't been a precedence of setting a dance creating a patent for a dance like this.
I thought you were going to say Neil Armstrong did. I was going to give you so much joy.
It was actually Neil Armstrong that patented the moonwalk. Okay, well, there you go.
Yeah, so this will be interesting.
Out of the depths of despair comes light. Talk to us about this new exciting trailer you saw this week, John.
Oh, the new Spider-Man that is set to release on January 5th, not far from home.
Wait.
July.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. I was like, January's already out.
Not too far. I was like, that's next year. What do you mean?
That is July 5th, 2019. It's already been said that this is going to happen after the Infinity Wars Endgame. That is now titled.
Oh, okay.
Which
spoiler.
I know, right? Spider-Man lives throughout it. You see Happy in the trailer. You got the new tech suit. He's kind of taking over looks like he's taking over the mentor thing.
Yeah.
I do believe that, I mean, they're pushing it pretty hard.
Yeah.
We've missed you, Happy, by the way.
But, I'm not going to be too forward because, one, it sucks being wrong. And two, it just...
All I know is that my theory is that all the villains in the trailer, except for Mysterio, are all illusions by Mysterio. Putting it out there.
Ooh.
That's my hot take.
There you go. Mysterio, I thought he's actually one of the characters I'm not as familiar with from the comics, but he always intrigued me. I did play, he was a part of the GameCube Spider-Man 2 game, I believe. There's Vulture, Mysterio, and someone else.
He had platforms you to jump on and gas and...
Yeah, honestly, that game was pretty hard to play. I'm not gonna lie. It was fun. I mean, don't get me wrong. I had a lot of good times with it for the time.
For the time, it was wonderful.
And time, the things that changes.
He's the main villain in Shattered Dimension, which is a PS3 360 game that was actually a lot of fun.
I remember you playing that.
Yeah, and I think that Mysterio is a good villain that, once again, I think the Marvel Disney's making the smart choices here, not trying to retread ground for villains we've already seen in the cinematic spectrum. They're going for people that are pretty much not touched for long periods of time. Vulture in the last one, Mysterio in this one.
How do you feel about Jake Gyllenhaal?
I like Jake Gyllenhaal as an actor. If you have never seen the movie...
Brokeback Mountain?
Yes, Brokeback Mountain. No. October Skies. No. There's a movie where he plays an ambulance chaser, and I can't remember the name of it now.
Nightcrawler.
Nightcrawler. Thank you. Yes.
So I'm a Jake Gyllenhaal fanboy, actually.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. His performance in Nightcrawler, terrifying.
Yeah. No, he did. He sold it. I love that movie.
Wow. That's a very good film.
I enjoy him. I enjoy his films. I'm fine with him. I'm not like a fanboy, obviously, but I mean, that's Nathan Fillion to me.
Yeah. I think it's really funny, and he's been pretty good on social media. Like, there's a great clip of him where he has the comic and he's lowering it and he's like, what? And the caption is, I just found out I'm not playing Spider-Man. So like, there's some good back and forth banter. So I'm excited to see him in this role. Tom Holland's been killing it. The writing has been on par with all the Marvel movies in the past year or two. Yeah. Like, I don't think we've gotten a Thor 2 or an Iron Man 2 in a while. So
yeah,
I'm pretty excited to see where it comes to it.
And so far they've been on point.
Yeah.
With this series of Spider-Man movies, way better than the previous.
Yeah. Well,
the bar wasn't set too high to begin with.
Previous two, I guess.
Yeah, previous. The Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3. The Amazing Spider-Man. Yeah.
That's right. We said it. Sam Raimi Spider-Man, not that great. I digress. John, talk to us about your last topic.
So we got Netflix ready to raise your rates.
Mm-hmm.
That's right, people. It's going to go for, about $1 or $2 more a month. So $8 to $9 for the tier where you have the basic plan, where you just have, I think it's one streaming device. It's $8 to $9. Then you got the $11 to $13 for multiple devices, which is borderline for me. And then they have the one that this person said one absolutely no one pays for will cost $16 every month, which is above what HBO now costs, for making it even more costly for HBO. The 4K resolution plus the multiple devices and all that other stuff. Yeah, I know. Yeah. It's starting to get a little ridiculous, especially because the mundane like Netflix availability that there is. Like, I don't get me wrong, I love going back and be able to see an older movie, but I don't know if it's worth, me shelling out another $2 a month. I don't watch it nearly as much as I should now, and I was debating on dropping it, and now that they're saying, now granted, I will say, if you're a current customer, you have about 3 months until they raise your rate. It's for new customers that immediately takes effect with. Right. Yeah. So fair enough. You have a little time to decide whether it's worth it to you or not. But I mean, I've already got HBO now. Mm-hmm. I've got Netflix. I've got Funimation. Mm-hmm. I've got Shonen Jump now. So I've got so much crap going on. I don't even know what to do with myself. And I'm like, I'm spending too much money. And
the question is, do you have enough time to even watch more than one of them?
No, and that's the thing. Like, I've been keeping up with a couple of shows on Funimation, keeping up with a couple of shows on HBO, which I still need to watch Ballers, and I need to, because I'm going to keep HBO. I'll probably get rid of Netflix for a while because it's just
I have lost my access to HBO, so I have no ability to watch Ballers.
True Detective season 3.
That too. So you got that, and you have Game of Thrones coming up in April.
Yep,
that's the one that's going to kill me.
Yeah, I know. But Netflix just hasn't really been impressing me all that much lately. I mean, you have the Amazon Prime, which is doing okay, but it's still not impressive. But if it wasn't already attached to Prime, I would have dropped it.
Oh, yeah. Well, you talked about, music becoming a separate service. If they move video to a separate service, I'm pretty sure nobody would pay for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's very few
Someone said they still actually get discs in the mail. But I was reading comments, and I was like, I want to see this. Because I don't believe they do it.
Probably because there is
there's got to be a market
small
for
base of people that actually do it. Yeah.
I'm just surprised.
I get more bang for my buck out of Netflix than any other streaming service I own, and that includes 100%. HBO.
You can, if you do watch all that. I just haven't been a TV guy lately. I've been more on like trying to get on the reading, the games, and I'm just not able to watch as much.
See, now I say bang for my buck, but
I'm too busy entertaining you guys to freaking do what I need to watch.
I would, the last thing in the world I would drop HBO before I drop Netflix.
I thought the same thing until recently.
Netflix has such a wide breadth of content, and there's so much there that I still like. My list is this long. There's so much stuff I still want to watch. Every day I turn it on, I'm like, oh, that's right. Punisher season 2 just dropped. I got to watch that.
Well, are we getting spoiled? Like, should I really be complaining about this $2 increase? You're talking about 24.
Honestly,
I wasn't asking you.
But
I'm asking them.
Honestly,
okay, I know what you think.
I mean, they can leave it in the comments below, and let us know what you think. But yeah, exactly. Down that way is where you point.
It's like it's this angle. It's like right. It's right
like
at the tip of the screen, and the other tip of the screen.
This is super delicious, by the way.
I was going to talk about it when we're done with our news.
Fine.
Yeah, I noticed we didn't actually talk about it at the beginning
on purpose.
Anyway, my thought process, my thoughts on this anyway. I actually enjoy Netflix mostly because actually the original content.
Yeah.
So
agreed.
I actually just finished watching You.
That's right. That's a picture.
That did look really good. Was it good?
It was very good. It was kind of creepy at times, and honestly, it fell flat for 2 episodes.
Yeah.
I feel like it kind of stalled. But then all of a sudden it's like action again. Suddenly it's like everything picks back up, and you just get back on this heightened sense of, wow, this guy is really creepy, but this is also really cool kind of thing. It's for those of you who don't know, anyways, a quick overview. It's basically the mind of a stalker.
There you go. Good 2019 content
in a fiction.
I don't think they got that from how you got so excited about it.
No, but it's a really cool watch. I'll recommend it if anybody wants to take a look at it.
So are you dropping Netflix?
No. Well, first off, again, I don't pay for
I'm probably not going to drop Netflix. The part of me wants to, but at the same time, I understand where they're coming from. They probably lost a lot of money with some of their originals. That just really didn't help them get or keep or even add to their consumer base.
That was the one comment they said is this is going to help us create even more originals than we have now.
Well, they were closing down a bunch of studios or whatever that they weren't. They said they were going to stop doing it, and I'm like, you had House of Cards. Very strong. Then obviously Kevin Spacey kind of took a giant.
I think House of Cards was less Netflix and more of a lead actor.
Yeah, but at the same time, it was coming to its. It was coming to its end. I think.
In my opinion,
it was within the next 3 seasons. It was definitely going to happen.
This season that we got, take away the Kevin Spacey controversy. He's still in the show. I think it still would have been the last season. I don't think they would have. I don't think they would have.
Maybe one more. And I was saying 3 to be generous because I didn't. I don't know what their actual plan was. But at the same time, I felt the same thing I did from House, where you had that lull, you came back up, and you wanted to finish on that high note. And I'm like, I get it.
Oh, it's like How I Met Your Mother. Like they tried to bring everything back.
We don't talk about that.
How I Met Your Mother. Let us know if you're dropping Netflix or any other streaming service in the comments above. Mark,
below.
It is time for you to talk to us about Twitter. Tweet, motherfucker.
Twitter. So Twitter for the longest time, apparently, I think it was 2 years anyway, had actually dropped the chronological timeline, which left literally at like people who like me who were just getting into Twitter at the time, and honestly, I don't even remember. It was 14, 15, something like that. I think whenever they got rid of it in favor of a feature or popularity-based timeline.
Should have stuck with iOS. That's all I'm saying.
Throw in the garbage.
That was site-wide. iOS lost it too.
Well, whatever.
I
didn't have
iOS.
Twitter
So Web got it back. Web got it back sometime around the middle of 2018. I think it was around like July, August, something like that. iOS just got it back in December. And for those of you who are on Android, aka the majority of us, we finally have chronological timelines back. Anyway, you'll see a new icon in the top right-hand corner of your screen. Anyway, on the little navigation bar or action bar across the top. It'll look like 3 stars, and honestly, I don't know why they went with that particular type of icon.
Because it's magic.
Ah, I see it.
Chronological based timeline.
Yeah, look at you.
Ah,
see, look at that. They didn't even know.
It's super nice. I knew it was coming back. I didn't realize that. I thought it was honestly just a built into the feed that you.
It is a toggle. So part of the difficulty for them here, knowing like kind of what their technical architecture looks like, is every time they do that, they actually wipe out your entire cache of your timeline of your feed anyway, and then rebuild it over and over again.
That's going to change how people actually do things.
Which is why it's a hard switch back and forth too.
Gotcha.
And actually, apparently, the feature based is easier for them. I don't understand how that makes any sense because just sorting something by time seems one of the easiest things. Yeah, John's lost some.
As someone who's a programmer, yes, sorting by time is fairly easy. I don't understand why feature. Okay, whatever.
Yeah, I don't either.
I digress.
But no, so it's an exciting feature. A lot of people had been sort of begging to see this come back anyway. As soon as they went to sort of the featured based timeline, everybody started going up in arms because look, I'm losing tweets from my followers. Better yet, as somebody who's trying to build a Twitter account, those people were freaking out. Like, look, I can't build followers now because those people who were following me when I'm really small, they're not going to be able to see my content because it's not going to outperform the other stuff like Sony or Microsoft or, Nintendo, whoever else,
Well, and not only that, I mean, I have
Ryan Reynolds.
We've had issues here in Charlotte where we were based with, riots and stuff. And one of the ways I found out about what was going on was through Twitter.
Yep.
And it's super difficult when it's not done in that chronological order because now you have to search by it and then you have no idea whether or not the content's just hot or whether it's actually pertinent at the moment. So.
On the flip side of that, though, if it is popular enough, anyway,
it'll rise
straight up to the top.
Cream will rise to the top.
Yeah,
that's right. Because I like
is that the cream of the crop?
Cream of the crop. Yeah. So I'm excited about this nonetheless.
Yeah. No, I'm excited to be able to actually see everyone that I follow on Twitter be able to actually catch up on their content.
Moving along.
Speaking of content,
what can shield you from despair? Talk to us about the NVIDIA Shield.
So that's not the NVIDIA.
No, I know.
It has nothing to do with the NVIDIA Shield.
The worst part is I tried to look at that thing. It kept giving me advertisements so often, so quickly.
Really?
I gave up trying to read it.
Oh, it gave me one, and then I clicked close, and that was it.
Maybe there's a virus on your Apple iPhone.
That's fine.
Anywhoosies.
You can have it.
NVIDIA is finally releasing a driver update. For those of you who watched CES, in particular from NVIDIA's tent, NVIDIA is actually releasing driver updates that allows you to use non-G-Sync devices using adaptive sync protocol.
Now, is this only for the 2080 Ti?
No. So this is every device that supports G-Sync, which is like the 10 series, like some of the older 9 series devices and the 10 series devices, and then the 20 series devices.
No, the 20 series device was the one that had the one that caught on fire that we talked about a while back.
Yes, the 2080 Ti, the Founders Edition was the initial release of them. They weren't necessarily catching on fire; they were just overheating like crazy and then burning themselves up.
Okay.
Now, I think one or two of them did catch on fire though. But
this GPU is on fire.
But anywho, so the big play here anyway, NVIDIA is finally dropping their G-Sync specific technology here anyway as a play of closed ecosystem. So there was a standards, I forget the standards organization now, that actually released an adaptive sync protocol that goes over top of DisplayPort and HDMI. So the idea is that you can get adaptive sync using the adaptive sync protocol on any display you want on any frame rate.
Okay.
So the big issue was that AMD had FreeSync, which is free and open source. Anyway, anybody can download or can open up the modules and buy them and whatnot and install them for a relatively cheap price. But the problem is for NVIDIA's G-Sync, which is NVIDIA owns the market for the most part. G-Sync modules to go on monitors were actually extremely expensive, like in the neighborhood of $300 to $500.
Oh wow!
Oh my man!
So the problem is, if you look at like my Acer Predator X34P downstairs, there's an AMD FreeSync model of it, but it's $300 cheaper. So the problem is that anything that supports FreeSync or adaptive sync, that kind of stuff, the open protocols like that, and like those are better options to go with for a much more budget-friendly reason. So so NVIDIA finally realized that they were losing a market anyway for G-Sync products.
Yeah,
because nobody wants to pay that markup.
Yeah.
Now, I feel like Black Friday was a big hit for them because a lot of G-Sync products didn't go on sale.
Ooh, yeah.
Ooh.
Versus like a lot of the FreeSync products did, including AMD's cards, because AMD's like, yo, we can tank these prices now. Here's your little payback, whatever it is for it, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And honestly, being a shopper looking around, it was very difficult for me to find exactly what I wanted. The ultra-wide G-Sync monitor that supported 120 hertz. That was actually a really difficult find. I had to wait till a very specific day in like a 6-hour window on Amazon to find it.
Good Lord.
It was bad. So
committed you are.
Huh?
Committed you are.
I was looking very specifically for it. And then I saw it like preemptively on Amazon. I was like, I'm gonna mark this. Let me know when it's coming up.
Mark it. Sorry.
Anyway. So NVIDIA anyway is about to release a driver update. A 417.71 I think is actually the driver version number that actually allows these older cards to support FreeSync.
That's awesome.
Which is actually going to be fantastic. Now the funny part about it is it's only for the FreeSync and adaptive sync monitors that have been approved by NVIDIA, which is currently 12 out of roughly 200 to 300.
But give it some time.
Right.
Yeah.
As they now, to be fair, in their tent at CES, they did divide up and have not approved, and then G-Sync side by side. The not approved monitors, because they did support the adaptive sync protocol, still worked.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's no guarantee, But NVIDIA is going through sort of a certification process to say, yep, that'll work. Nope, that won't. That kind of thing.
Okay. That's interesting. Yeah. It does definitely make sense for them when you're talking about trying to get a hold of that market that they're essentially missing out on right now.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it when you guys nerd out.
I love it when you talk to me about biometrics. Talk to me about biometrics there, Mark.
That was a bad flip. So California judge ruled against law enforcement officers anyway who used biometrics anyway, or forced a small child to use biometrics to get into his phone regarding some crime that happened. No, I'm sorry, it wasn't a small child.
It was not a child.
No, I'm sorry. It was an alleged child predator. I'm sorry. It was like a pornography thing. That was a bad that was a bad switch up there. So the California judge ruled against the police anyway here, saying that biometrics are included as part of passwords, pins, and anything else that you would normally type in anyway to secure a device.
It goes against the Fifth Amendment.
Yep. Right. And that includes iris scanning, face scanning, anything else that could be used to access a device similar to a password.
I feel like this was to protect Trump more than anyone else.
It is unfortunate, and I've heard this argument often with various law enforcement agencies saying we can do this much faster. Yada yada. Sorry, require my approval before you use it.
They had that gray box thing they just plug up into, and it's like
that's the big thing. Gray box right now. There's no word as to whether or not gray box is actually will actually break Android devices. The problem with Android is that some older devices are still in older versions without security patches and things like that. So if you're running an older phone, you're kind of out of luck on that. If you're running a newer phone with security updates and things like that, so you can actually kind of protect yourself against that stuff. But gray box specifically was built to get around iOS devices because it seemed like that was what the majority of crime committers anyway that they needed to.
Interesting.
A majority of people that FBI needed to get into anyway.
Interesting.
Not felonies. And also iOS did an update with their charge port, so that way it only recognizes for charging, not for data without being unlocked. Yeah. So therefore the gray box doesn't bypass it anymore.
Well, I mean, Apple's been against we've talked about this before.
Oh, dude, they love peeing in their Cheerios.
Yeah. Well, Apple's very much, that's a very good analogy, but Apple's always been very against the FBI being able to get into their phones.
Not that kind of kids' Cheerios. Oh, never mind. Let's go on. I was like, what? We were talking about kids earlier. I was like,
we can stop talking about children now. It's fine. So biometrics not allowed unless
only in California as it stands
as of right now. However, that's a precedent that can possibly be used.
Right. You could probably bring that across state lines because a lot of other judges will probably look at California and say, all right, yeah, that's fine.
So it's a pretty good step going forward. I am curious to see how much like the gray box was built, if there are going to be other technologies to help get around these kinds of things. Let us know what you think in the comments below.
Are you happy that this is blocked?
No. We're not blowing up the comments because they're above us. Thank you.
Anyway, we should also know that are you okay with the fact that they're allowing this or not?
Are you okay with it? Yep. Does this bother you? Do you think that people should have a choice or not? Let us know. But per the end of the segment, that was the important. We did not introduce our drink of the day beforehand, or the drink of the week, we should say. So this wonderful gentleman over here created for us, Tom Collins. Here is Aviation Gin.
For those of you, I guess the full mixture anyway, using Aviation Gin. Thank you, Ryan Reynolds, for the wonderful, delicious taste of Aviation Gin.
If I need to wear a Deadpool mask to get you to promote our show, I will.
I'll wear the bottom half.
There you go.
We'll put the giant Deadpool head that we have downstairs.
There you go.
See, here.
We can do this.
Anyway, Tom Collins, anyway, for those of you who would like to replicate here, is 2 fluid ounces of Aviation Gin. Specifically, that's what we're using, or any kind of gin. 2 fluid ounces of club soda, a fluid ounce of simple syrup, a dash of bitters, and then I think it's 2 fluid ounces of lemons. 2 fluid ounces of lemon juice. Now, normally they're garnished with an actual lemon slice and some cherries, but
it's a grown-up lemonade.
I ended up burning through all the lemons.
I say, please don't grab the wrong end. For that,
making all of this, the extra that we wanted to keep for the show.
This bottle was full.
Also, we really didn't need a whole lot of garnish here on the show. We're okay. However,
we are enough garnish ourselves.
Ding. On to the topic of the show. Topic of the show this week comes from Mark the Dispatch Plover discussing voice command devices.
Ironically, tots, and I thought you didn't want to talk about kids.
That was really good. That was really good.
Anywho, so the big topic anyway with CES, especially going into CES, was it 2 weeks ago now?
Mm-hmm.
Was that there were going to be a ton of voice-enabled devices out there. A lot of them implementing their own custom solutions for some reason, because I guess that's been an easier thing to do now. Yeah, but I don't understand why they wouldn't just go with Google Assistant or Siri or Alexa, something that's established, something that's actually worth it right now, I think. Better it has full ecosystems built in. The reason I sort of pivoted to this and came across this is because I saw an article specifically that Pandora had its own.
Wait, what?
Pandora launches its own in-app voice assistant on Android and iOS with Hey Pandora.
For the 4 people who are using it, we just triggered it. I'm sorry.
But I don't understand why they decided to come up with their own voice assistant. Why wouldn't you just integrate with Google Assistant? Why wouldn't you integrate with Alexa? Why wouldn't you integrate with Siri? Because those are the platforms where the majority of people listen to your music.
Yeah.
And the big one for me, I guess, is too, on top of that, and thinking about the fact that there are so many, who's going to be the king here? I mean, we talked about, who's going to be the king of streaming services. Realistically, there is always going to be sort of one king where everyone is going to say that is the preferred one. In a console war right now, PlayStation is the preferred console right now. From a voice assistant perspective, in my opinion, Google Assistant has come out on top anyway, especially if you look at a lot of the reviews for it.
Yeah.
Now, there's no clear winner here because everybody has a preference, but the question is, who do you think is going to be king based on your preference or based on any kind of information you know about it? Is it going to be Pandora?
It's going to be Cortana once they actually make holograms.
Cortana's actually backed off completely.
Yeah.
No, I want her to be real.
It's a really interesting point. Two things. I got one story. I went to drop off my younger brother today because I had him for the weekend. I dropped him off yesterday. Got to my mother's house, and there was a box for the Google Assistant with the screen.
Right, the home hub. Yeah,
the home hub. And I was like, oh, what's this? My other younger brother was like, yeah, mom went ahead and bought one. I'm like, yeah. He's like, yeah, it's right next to her Alexa. I'm like, what's the point?
Why do you have both?
Why is there any? It doesn't matter.
No,
it doesn't matter.
Just the regular Alexa or the Alexa Show?
The Alexa Show. Yeah. I do not know.
No, to be fair, I wanted to do this because I like the assistant for what she does. And I like Alexa for what it does for my music. Because I use Amazon Music, I can only use it through Alexa.
Okay. All right.
So if you're using Alexa only for music, and then you can use Google for everything else, they don't blend.
That's not why she did it. There's not much thought put behind it.
See, and the other thing was, on my end, I use Spotify. That's supported on every platform. So
the big thing for me is I don't use these voice assistants. I don't text through it on my phone. I've got Bixby, or I could download any of the Google Assistant stuff. Mm-hmm. I don't use it. On the PlayStation, I have the camera hooked up. I don't use voice commands there. I rarely use our Alexa, and it's to add stuff to a shopping list when I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
And to maybe start some music from time to time. And that is it.
I use it every morning for news, weather. Like, I literally wake up, I'm like, Alexa, give me the news. It's just, you want the news roundup? Like, yes.
These systems are not appealing to me. They're usually not as useful as I want them to be. The text I've done voice to text for literally years now, and it's almost never correct. I'm always fixing something.
Yep.
And maybe it's because I speak very fast.
Or
maybe
you're using an Android.
Enunciate differently. I don't know. However, they're just not interested. They're not interesting to me because I don't use them, and they don't really function the way I want them to, so I don't use them.
Okay.
That being said, I totally can see a world in which Google Assistant is on top because of the fact that it's integrated into the Android.
It's built
system.
It's built with an AI platform, and then it has the entire background of Google search.
Yeah. I mean, last year we've talked about it numerous times where people are using the Google Assistant to mimic human beings as an actual assistant.
Yep.
That is fascinating.
Yep.
Fascinating technology.
What was that, Duo? I keep forgetting what they call it. It was the Google Assistant thing where they did the phone call.
I don't remember now. Duo's the video chat service, but
and it's the other one. I always mix them up.
Trio, of course.
Yeah, no. That one was actually really well done, and I do totally agree. Like if I was going to go with one or the other, I had to choose. It would totally be the Google version, just because they have Google backing it.
Yep.
And that's the only thing that's holding Alexa back is the search engine to do those things.
Right.
Because I feel like everything else is actually pretty well done.
Yep.
I don't have a problem with it. It works well with the devices that it talks to. It's it's just as easy to use.
Right.
But it does lack the usefulness that the Google Hub would be because of the internet searches.
Right. Now, I'll give Alexa credit anyway that Amazon really went down the smart home integration platform. They went down that first. Mm-hmm. Now Google is slowly catching up as far as that goes, because realistically the other companies can come in and do that themselves. And if there are enough people out there using Google Home devices, because that is a better platform to interact with, then they're going to want to migrate over to that anyway. But Alexa or Amazon specifically went with the play of let's make this easy to integrate. Let's assist these companies in integrating. Like Philips Hue is one of the big ones. For me anyway. Granted, I've never owned an Echo device, but it was always a big one for me of like, well, I've got a Hue system now, should I get, an Echo or an Echo Dot, to be able to help control a lot of this? Because one of my buddies had an Echo and a Hue system, so he could turn the lights on in his room, and he could change the colors of his dining room versus his living room versus his kitchen, that kind of stuff, which is actually really cool to me, but I sort of held out, I guess, and waited for something to come along until I realized that Google was coming up with a home device.
Okay.
Well, with the companies themselves too, like just putting Amazon Alexa compatible is going to sell more objects than if it didn't have it on there.
But now they've got to do 3. They've got to do Amazon Alexa capable, Google Assistant integration, and HomeKit.
HomeKit?
That's Apple's.
Okay.
Technically, they don't have to do all 3. They're still going to sell more by having just one of them on there. They will sell the most by having all 3.
Right. Are there any analytics on that?
I might be able to find something.
I remember reading something saying that they sold like 50% more just for having it on the box.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that shows you that's what people are buying it for.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And
if that's the case,
it's one of the reasons why I find this conversation so interesting, because I know there's a large population that uses this functionality, and I've seen it here in this household. I've seen it at your household, and I've used it myself to some capacity or another. But it does kind of boggle my mind the demand for it.
I use it in your house too.
Yeah,
when I put random things on your grocery
list.
Yes,
you do. Yes, you do.
He gets very upset about
that. We have to change the name of Alexa. I just did that to be a dick. I'm sorry.
Add dildos to the grocery list.
He did that to be more of a dick.
Getting dildos from a grocery list. That's
Dude, he must have had 100 dildos on his list when he got back from Ireland. Over the course of our
years, yeah.
Have you checked your list since Ireland?
Yeah, we went grocery shopping. There wasn't anything on there.
Oh, wow. She must have deleted it or done something, because I put a lot of stuff on.
So I didn't realize this. The approximation is
I watched his house while he was gone.
1/4 to
scary thought.
1/3 of the U.S. currently owns an in-home smart home device, or an in-home smart device.
1/4 to 1/3,
like specifically an assistant device, like
yeah.
I'm trying.
You think about it, like
analytics on the fly.
Well, does phones and watches count for that?
I don't think so, because if that was the case, if that was the case, it would be way more than that.
Right?
Because more than 1/4 of the U.S. population has a smartphone.
We're not counting Kansas.
It's a very high.
We don't need to count Kansas.
Well, really, middle America.
Yeah, we don't need to count
Texas
them either. They're very tiny.
We know they don't believe in phones.
No.
Or walls.
They only believe in sweet Jesus.
We live in the Bible Belt.
I know. I'm well aware. I'm well aware.
I don't see anything anyway.
It's worth a shot. We're fine. You could always do some research.
Anyway, do some research.
And leave it in the comments. Or we will do some more research.
Along the lines of 50% increase in sales from when not having it to having it.
There was a number.
It could have also been because of Christmas.
Let's be honest. If the effort to implement it compared to the gain coming out of it is worth it, people are going to do it.
Yeah. Right.
And you're starting to see it more and more. So obviously it's worth some sort of effort to put this type of integration into devices.
Or literally the lever was just like, well, I could do it with the light bulbs. Okay, get that one.
Yeah.
And it's just like that instant, that one little bit got you over the edge.
Yep.
And when they work, they work.
Yep.
It's super nice.
Yep.
It's interesting to hear about Pandora coming out with one, because I feel like very similarly to a smartphone market, the video game console market. Like, I don't see a space for another competitor right now. So why try? And granted, that's kind of a defeatist argument.
To be fair, that's what I said about Microsoft when they said, "Oh yeah, we built Cortana into Windows 10," and I was like, "Why?"
Yeah,
I was like, "All I know is that it's going to be something else to pop up to annoy me that I'm not going to use because a desktop PC sounds like a horrible
like the paperclip in Microsoft Word."
And what's happening? What's happening to Cortana?
Going away.
There you go.
Well, actually, no longer being focused on as a voice support integration or a voice assistant.
Going away.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, like Pandora, which is a very interesting company in general, because a majority of their money is used to fund research into sound capture and music. Like the whole point of Pandora originally was to find a way to track music across different cultures, to find a single thread that connects all of us.
I didn't know that.
Super fascinating. And so that company has been in dire straits for a long time because other competitors have come up and are able to make the deals because they're large companies. And so they're
trying to make it more sexy.
Yeah, it's just it is interesting because I agree with you. Like, why spend the money, the funding, and all that when you can do this for cheap? Like the licensing for Google API stuff,
right? And they let you integrate
minimal best.
They let you integrate built in with your website, or your device, or whatever it is. Like,
does Pandora's AI actually give anything else? Like, I mean, like with Amazon Alexa, I could be like, "Oh, what song is this?" You know what I mean? Like, does it give these options? Does it give you a little bit more into like the spectrum of, if you like music, use Pandora because we can give you this. Like, we can give you like sets for stuff that you like or things that you might like, and they're actually better algorithms.
I don't know.
Whatever.
Maybe. It's hard to say.
That'd be the only reason why I would see they would even go forth through the effort.
Yeah.
But no, so actually, specifically, 2 of the commands are what song is this, and add this song to my playlist.
Okay, so I mean, it's not. I mean, I'm sure you can do that with Amazon. I had tried to do that with Amazon Alexa. It gets a little convoluted sometimes, but I mean, also AI is still in like the pre-birth when it comes to our interactions with them currently.
Well, and let's be honest, human speech is a very unique thing to try and capture. You can say the same word over and over again, and you can slur it one time. You could say it in just a soft banana. You can
say it in a full Southern twang, and you know it ain't gonna understand you for nothing.
Mispronounce one letter, and all of a sudden it's Danwish.
I felt like I was in Texas already.
So it is fascinating. I'm very interested to see, because they're not going to be the first. Or they're probably not the first, and they're not going to be the last to try and dig deep in this. But I feel like if you're watching any sort of market space, this one's one. Time to move on to the next one.
Yep.
But you're saying that, is there going to be a winner? Honestly, well, it's not for a while, in my opinion.
Oh, no. Yeah, definitely not. Especially since you have like the 3 big hitters, apparently. Well, okay, I'll say 2 big hitters and 1 half hitter of Google Assistant and Alexa, followed by Siri.
They're wearing that.
Stubby.
They're wearing that special helmet. That was mean. I'm sorry.
The Siri does okay on the phone.
Yeah.
Like the watch, I've seen that fail horribly.
I've seen you struggle with Siri before quite a bit.
No, yeah, she's got a nickname. It's called Dumb. Yeah, I know. You might want to mark that one.
We'll let you guess what word he said.
Yeah.
What is
know.
What?
No, they'll know.
Oh, they'll know. Okay. I'm just fascinated because Google seems the one that's the farthest ahead with the way the assistant can actually act like an assistant.
Yeah. Yep.
And the integration to your calendar, all those other things. Like Google has so many products that it's positioned in a way that if they get that working properly, integrating with any of their other things they have in place, like if you can use Google Assistant to literally type out an email to a partner or a friend and send it out, done. Like, that is such a
attach proper formatting, whatever it is, that kind of stuff.
Huge leap. Add this signature and go. You're going to be way ahead of the game.
Step into the office space a little bit more than just the personal space. Or home space. Yeah.
And I have a lot less issues with the Google side. I haven't had as much talk back from my AI.
Does Siri talk back to you?
She's mean.
I'm starting to wonder if you're taking your pills again. Anyways.
Didn't you say last week if you make a comment and there's awkward silence, that's just like one of your favorite things?
Oh, absolutely. But I was gonna kill that one for a moment. Google's where I'm at right now.
Yep. No, I'm a Google fanboy here. I'm on board. I think AI is definitely the right step. I think that'll lead to the right places.
I want Alexa to come out and be more, because I think it's capable, but they have to figure out some way.
Yeah.
to get their search engine to be worthy.
I just don't think Amazon's the right tech company to do it because I don't think they're as big of a tech company.
Well, the problem is that they were the first ones to come out with a screen, and they were great and they were doing well. And then all of a sudden, Google came out and was like, freaking slapped them right in the face.
You could just say slap. You could just say slap.
All right. Well, no, it was definitely a dick slap.
Said dick slap. You know.
The thing is that Amazon's a weird company because they are dipping the toe in technology. And I mean that very seriously because they have a couple of game studios that aren't really making games. They have they purchased the rights to a game engine that they're working on, and it's available and you can make games in it, but it's not nearly as expansive as something just as accessible like Unity.
Yep.
They're working on
Unity.
Like Alexa. However, we have other competitors that are coming into the space that are literally doing the same thing, if not a little bit better. They're just a weird company because they don't know when to put all in and when to not. It's always a half a foot. So, because it's more than a toe. They're not just dipping their toes in the water because they're actually producing products and they're coming out with services. But it's always just that here's where it starts.
Yep.
What it can be is something greater.
Right.
They're never going to make it greater.
No. And that's, so that's the thing. Amazon's a good
hard sell.
I think it's absolutely true with the way they have operated their company for quite some time now.
But they don't perfect anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but Amazon's always sort of been the, I guess, as far as this particular space goes, here's the idea. And Google says, we can make that better. You know, and to be fair, like Amazon is sort of the Google in a lot of the senses we were talking last week again about, you know, the fact that Google, or before anyway, that Google is, you know, been the starter to say, look, you can do this sort of thing. So I think Amazon's sort of going with the same play, not intentionally.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Amazon's been kind of the catch-all. So would you rather have more access to things and them have, you know, slight deficits, or would you rather be super specific but well done?
It truly depends on what you're talking about.
Exactly. With the way we do things, like right now I'm leaning towards Alexa because of the scatter shot that it provides and the level that it provides me. I'm okay with it.
Okay.
The problem for me is that scatter shot just doesn't do anything for me.
It's all personal, and that's where I think we're going to see the battle.
And that's why I think something that can do more is going to win out, because it's going to be able to give people that personal touch, that little thing they need, a lot easier. Yeah. The catch-all
Skynet wins.
Yeah, exactly. I'm ready for the Matrix. Plug me in.
Google Net.
Boop. Done.
Google Net wins.
But let us know. We can talk about this all day. Obviously, we've gone in circles already.
Give us your thoughts down in the description.
It was like a figure
or down in the
eight.
comments. You can't really go into the description because you can't edit that.
You can try and edit the description. I'm sure if you know how to you right click and you go into
tools.
You go right into the inspector and
send
you
us a screenshot of that.
All the comments you want, and you can edit the description.
Just leave us those screenshots down.
Exactly. Let us know what you did.
I don't care what you do.
But I believe it is now time for last call.
I can't reach it.
You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Last call, we are still slowly figuring out what to do with this, but I keep coming up with questions and things to talk about. And this week, I would like to ask you, or bring the question to you, what is something technology-wise that people seem to be jumping on the bandwagon with that you have no interest in whatsoever?
Watches.
Yeah,
the Apple Watches, the smart watches. I see people using them and I see them get so mad, like I do at Siri, all the time, much more often. Like Siri at least gets it right half the time. I'm watching my sister's boyfriend use her his Apple Watch, sorry, and it's fun to watch because she'll either not respond, it won't work unless he's within a certain proximity of his phone, even though he's got a whole other line that he's paying for to use without his phone.
What?
Yeah, so it has an internet connection on its own, but if it's not within certain range of his phone, it still won't work right.
I see that's where my sister wins out with her gear watch or whatever it is, the Samsung watch.
And I'm like, I have no want to get into this battle. I already battle enough with this stupid thing. I don't need any help.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like,
what about you?
So this one's gonna be a little bit of blow for you guys. And it's not that I have no interest in it. It's that my interest is sort of middle of the road. VR.
Yeah. I saw that coming.
Like to me, VR is fun. I enjoy it when I'm in it. But to me, that's the same as any other video game.
Yeah.
I can sit there for hours and play CS:GO on a standard monitor, that kind of thing. And you put me on Beat Saber, I can sit there and stand there and play for hours, but to me, like the experience comes out the same other side, same on the other side of, I enjoyed it just the same. It's not that big.
You don't need it over another way.
Yeah, it's much more immersive. Don't get me wrong, because I can pivot my head around. I can look at things. Now I'm still waiting to try the racing sim setup that I've got downstairs with it. But I don't know. I just don't see. I guess I don't have the appeal that I thought I would with it.
Playing Firewall 0 Hour the other night was really cool because I actually brought the controller up and was able to look through the red scope, which, by the way, didn't know that was an area. I was blind firing and killing people. And I was like, man, this is really hard to play. They should really, why have a red dot sight if you can't use it? And then I thought about it and I was like, maybe you can. I was like, oh, man, this is cool. And, it's just, it kind of opens up your imagination a little bit to me. And I really feel like, a lot of games do well with that. But it is cool too, like playing Firewall 0 Hour, going downstairs and upstairs. I felt that emotion, like not emotion, but the motion itself made me want to pee because I was like, I'm not actually changing elevation, but it made me feel like I am. And I don't know, I should probably play near a toilet.
Well, but even then, that to me was like, I felt a little weird doing it because, again, I talked about, Super Hot, that the end of that one playthrough where he jumps off the ledge or whatever, and you smack on top of a car. Now, for me, don't get me wrong. Again, with the immersion, it was like, holy crap, I'm falling. But again, I don't like that idea if I'm standing still in my living room.
Yeah,
I find that interesting because
makes me a little sick, actually.
I don't play VR to become more immersed. I play VR because it's a different experience.
Right. Okay. All right.
And so, but not all of them are. If that makes any sense. Like I'm playing
good
Astrobot, I'm playing right now, and the biggest compliment I've given to Astrobot is that it's a VR game where I don't feel like I'm playing a VR game. Like I put the headset on and I use it as my camera and all that jazz. But when I'm playing Astrobot or I'm in the mood for Astrobot, it's not the I want to play a VR game. It's I want to play a video game. I want to play Astrobot.
See, that's what I heard in the reviews for Tetris.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait. I bought that game. It's on my list of things to play now.
I should have brought it.
I know. I actually thought about it as I was working. But I realized my friends weren't working today because it's MLK Day, and they could go get it from my house anytime.
I'm really glad you called and said, "Hey, you know what I just remembered in the middle of my workday? Could you do this?"
If I passed my house, I was gonna grab it.
For me, it is strapless earbuds, the AirPods, like all of those.
Okay.
I don't get it.
I
don't get it.
I'll lose those things so fast.
So I understand the idea of strapless, like the. I'm sorry,
Me too.
I'm with you on the sense of strapless, but
I use wireless Bluetooth headset all the time. But they're connected to something, so that way if they fall, or like we were in the Guinness distillery, I think the other day, and while we were in Ireland, and no, I'm sorry, I was on the train, and some woman just comes, she's like, "Could you please move your feet?" And I'm like, "What are you having?" She dropped her earbud because it fell out of her ear while she was walking, and I'm like, "How'd you not notice that?"
Yeah,
like for one, it's whatever. I digress.
These things are amazing. You literally pull them out, they stay right there on your neck. They actually go in my collar, and they go right back. It's that simple, and it's not invasive at all.
Those to me are interesting. I just don't enjoy the feel of those specifically. Actually, the pair that I've got is a Jaybird X2s, which are they're more meant for gin, and that kind of stuff. So the idea is that they actually loop over your ear, use the wingtips to go in your ear, and then the cord actually pulls tight to the back of your head.
Oh, that's weird.
It's nothing rigid though. It's completely like flexible cable, that kind of stuff. So it can actually form to the back of your head the way that you want it to, that kind of stuff. And you can once you set the length. Okay, I'll grab them. Yeah. But once I set the length anyway to my head anyway, I put them on the back, I put them right in, and they fit perfectly every time.
What's cool is one of our friends, B. Ryan, he has a sculptatory percussion version of these, and they literally go onto a skull right here, and you can actually vibrate your skull without actually like having to use your ears. Which has always been my worry using these, because I use these a lot. I drive everywhere. I use these while I work, listening to music,
right?
Working and doing phone calls. Like I use them a lot. So my worry is my hearing. So if you are worried about that, there are other options instead of using in-ear headphones or over-the-ear headphones, which are constantly. I mean, you have to remember, like those things are energy.
Yeah,
it's vibration energy being poured into your skull, and if you take them off and you feel hot, it's probably a bad thing, and you should probably take a break.
Well, what is it? The military, the new military, I guess, special recon
around for a while.
Well, yeah. But I mean, like that's what they use anyways. They actually use the vibration systems anyway that go in your skull, and then they use the throat mics that actually read the vibrations from your throat to generate.
I was told you have to talk differently using those. Like
really,
yeah, like you actually have to talk differently for it to come clear on the other end.
Because you need to enunciate a little bit more, so the vibrations are a lot more clear.
Really,
because it's not listening for the microphone; it's listening for the vibrations. Because I mean,
your mouth does like articulate anyway, like the way that the vibrations come out in a different sense to make your voice sound
but not everybody's voice is clear on the radio nor a phone.
Plus it makes you sound scarier.
Yeah.
Where's the trigger? Where is it? Where's the trigger? But those are our answers. Please leave your answer to the last call question down below. That is, once again, what technology that everyone is jumping on the bandwagon that you're just not okay with? You're not cool with.
Ideas down in the description.
Down in the description, if you don't mind. Once again, right click, view the inspector. You'll figure it out from there.
Inspect element.
Either one is fine.
To be fair,
or hit F12.
Just
there you go. Like, F12 will solve your problem.
For the VR, Spark. Totally fun to play with a friend. You will lose a lot of weight.
Yep, 100%. Beat Saber's wonderful too. Until next week, cheers.
Cheers.